Hello everybody, I hope you're doing well. Some of you may have seen my community post about the new album of music that I put out, which has a lot of my songs from the stories. Some of them you may have heard already, some of them are new that haven't been released yet. But I'll put a link to that in the pinned comment in case you want to check it out. It should be on pretty much all streaming platforms like Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Google Music, or Google Play. No, that's the Play Store. It's on all that stuff. But here is the new logo for the music channel. And from that, I made this little card looking thing. I don't really know what I'll use it for yet, but I think it looks pretty sick. But if you check out the album, I hope you like it. It seems that the most popular song off of it so far is Footsteps, which I really liked making. That one was one I made for the Pen Pal story. And if you'd like to listen to these stories on Spotify and iTunes and all that, you can look me up on there. I have a podcast on there called just The Dark Somnia. And the last thing I'll say is I made another community post just asking you all if you preferred just longer stories, or if you wouldn't mind some shorter stories sprinkled in between the longer ones. And based on what everyone said, I think I'll probably start doing some shorter ones, but I probably will stay at least around 30 minutes. I'm still going to aim for the hour-long stories like I normally do, hopefully longer. But yeah, just let me know what you think. And with that said, enjoy the story. How I ended up in this godforsaken place isn't anywhere near as interesting as how I got out of it. But in short, I assaulted someone who deserved it. I'd tried, unsuccessfully, to take out his whole little group of friends with my bare hands when I'd finally tracked them down. An anonymous tip had come in as to where I may find them, and I wasted no time getting the jump on them. Clearly, I'd gotten too eager and made too much noise, as the police were there and saw me throwing fists on top of their main man. The victim had high-ranking connections, and instead of going to a normal prison, I went to a supermax facility due to the severity of the beating and the threat I posed to him and his business. In short, he had his hands deep in the pockets of many powerful lawmakers who enjoyed what he did. And surprise, surprise. It took them a while to get me sentenced, and the other men I attacked went down for it, but the main guy I targeted, the one who absolutely deserved it, nah. He bought his way out. What a shocker. And thanks to him, instead of getting 18 months, I got 5 years. So you can imagine how I felt when my dumb 30-year-old ass wound up in a prison full of some of the worst monsters you could ever imagine. The prison was not dissimilar to a panopticon. A central tower rose out of solitary, all the way up the circularly designed prison, and the main control center aligned with level 1 where Gen Pop resided. They had maybe 1/10 the staff to the prison's inmate population, but if you have eyes on every inmate with a shock collar affixed for troublemaking, well, you're bound to behave. Oh yeah, we had fucking shock collars affixed to us upon entry. The governor deemed us too dangerous to be allowed unrestrained freedoms, but wanted to focus on cognitive rehabilitation by giving us those freedoms and punishing us harshly for any perceived threatening behavior. Believe it or not, it stuck quite well. Sure, someone would test the mettle of the staff and the warden, make rude comments to start, and then escalate to trying to beat a guy to death. But the shocks would only intensify until the poor guy was on the ground pissing his pants, or in one horrible case, eyes popping out of the skull as the smell of his melting flesh stank up the whole joint. Didn't eat a grilled cheese for a while after that one, let me tell you. I was assigned a bunkmate, as most inmates are. Polly didn't say much. He was a scrawny guy who kept to himself and minded his business. Worked for me. I didn't want to make any friends while I was in there, and the guys who were too friendly were not the ones I wanted to be close to. About 6 months in, I got a letter pushed through my cell door. It's the middle of the night, and the lights are still beaming around, but you can never fucking tell if you're being watched or not. So it was largely just for show. Stumbling over, I grabbed the black envelope and opened it at my desk. I kept the light off so as to not disturb Polly. After reading the contents, I'm glad I did. Inside, written on some dried-up material that I assumed was parchment, was a sponsorship letter.
Dear Mr. Alejandro, welcome to your new sponsorship program. We are the AF Trust, a charitable organization whose sole aim is to rehabilitate inmates, fund their good behavior, and help them function with the difficulties of prison and beyond. We chose you due to your prior circumstances, unique set of skills that we feel will be transmutable in the working world post-sentence, and due to the fact you'd be receptive based on the help we offered. We differ from other organizations insofar that while they rely on wellness checks, meditation, and putting their faith in gods, we instead have a more holistic approach. We want you to give in to your primal desires. If you are so interested, please see the affixed second note. By breaking the seal, you are entering into an agreement with the AF Trust and must see the contract through to the end. We can assure you that, if you should accept, your behavior will be noted and you will be recommended for early release by the parole board. We look forward to hearing from you. As our patron says, always follow the light, the lure in the darkness.
I don't know what it was, but the letter had me transfixed. It had a soft odor to it, like walnuts or almonds mixed with something I couldn't place. It put me in a malaise, and I instinctively reached for the second, smaller letter hidden in the seam of the parchment. A common practice when smuggling in sensitive info, though how they didn't find it when screening this letter is beyond me. Sure enough, it had a thick black wax seal stamped over it, the image of some kind of animal prominently displayed as I tore it in half and carried on reading.
Excellent choice, Mr. Alejandro. The Panopticon cannot see you right now. It will not see you for approximately 9 more minutes, at which point they will conduct a random inspection of the cell. You will need to complete your first job for us within that time frame. Your cellmate, Paulie Torino, is a convicted sex offender. He isn't in for those charges this time, but you know how it is. The guards will ensure that few know about it so as to protect his life and status. They assumed nobody would find out, but we did. That isn't the reason you should kill Paulie, though. Just an added incentive. No, the reason you should kill him is twofold. Number one, he was under the employ of the gentleman you accosted 6 months ago for your own personal reasons. He testified against you in exchange for immunity for what he did and the promise of a lighter sentence with more privileges. And number two, he was given the same letter as you this morning. He's been waiting for this moment, and now it truly is kill or be killed. You will be compensated appropriately both in prison favors and financially for your troubles. Good luck. Follow the lure.
For the first time in a long time, I felt fear run through me. Paulie was a scrawny little shit, but any person is dangerous with enough motivation, and being locked up in a small cell. I kept my eyes fixed on the letter as I strained my ears to hear for Paulie. Sure enough, he'd risen out of his bed and was tiptoeing towards me. He couldn't be more than 2 steps away. "Did you do it? Were you there when he did what he did?" I breathed. The footsteps stopped. I could hear his heart beating in his chest.
"Yeah, I was. I'd do it again, too. She was one fine piece of..."
Before he could finish, I turned around, and with fists tightly clenched and mind-focused, I hit him in the chest with everything I had. The air escaped his lungs and shot out around his body, sending him backwards into his bed and making the most god-awful wheezing sound imaginable. I used a technique I'd avoided in so long, even in the incident 6 months ago. But I could not forgive such an egregious act. I stood over him for 5 minutes, watching him panic as his heart struggled to beat, the fear in his eyes as his breathing grew shallower and eventually dissipated, a slight froth in his mouth. At the 9-minute mark, just as the letter predicted, they called a random inspection. I was feigning sleep in my bunk bed when they came in and saw what had happened. They assumed he'd died in his sleep, and due to his past proclivities, there wasn't exactly much sympathy going around. The investigation was short, and since my technique is designed for stealth, they never brought any charges against me, so I moved on. A couple of weeks pass, and I'm still on my own in the cell. Another letter arriving in the dead of night, slipped under the door with no visible or audible person walking away after. Strange, but whatever. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth, right? Opening it up, the contents this time were surprising, to say the least. It was far more informal and to the point. Not that I minded.
Mr. Alejandro, there were 3 more men involved in what happened that rainy night up by the Myopic Road. 2 of them are housed here in the Panopticon. All of them will meet their end by your hand. Do this and you will find yourself suddenly free and with a job in mind. The first is now a lifer down in Gen Pop. He walks with a limp and was the one holding her down. Be wary, he is not what he seems. Seek him out at night. You will have a job opportunity that should allow you to get close. If you do this right, you will not be caught. Same as last time. Follow the lure.
The following week, I'd been given a laundry job by the warden in light of good behavior. This involved going around the various inmates' cells late at night, getting their dirty clothes and taking them away. Standard stuff, really. But it gave me an opportunity to socialize and get close to the target, a guy known as Withers down in Gen Pop. Second night in, I passed through level 3, mid-security risks, when someone put an object in with their clothes, not looking at me as they did so. I'm no fool. If someone offers you something that could get both of you caught, you carry on. Nobody snitches. I waited until I turned a corner into the laundry room, where the Panopticon didn't follow us to see what it was, my heart skipping a beat when I unfurled the thick sweater to see it. A silver stake, aerosol, and a lighter. This motherfucker was a Strigoi. I told you before I was housed with monsters, and I wasn't kidding. This isn't your usual run-of-the-mill prison. It's a facility housing all manner of beasts, both the human and nightmare variety. Believe me if you want, but anyone with half a brain knows the government has a lot of secrets and a lot of facilities you do not go near. This is one of them. The guy I beat up used those connections to send me into the literal snake pit, hoping they'd eat me alive before long and keep his dirty secrets at bay. In any case, I took the items and strapped them to my body with a ripped-up vest, then put a sweater over it to disguise any awkward shapes, hoping it'd be enough. As I went near Withers' cell, I could hear the old guy snoring away, his bunkmate nowhere to be seen, but the door open. I could have announced myself or woken him up to put us on equal footing, but I'm not here to play nice, and I didn't want to risk the shock collar going off. Stepping inside, I pulled the cell door closed and strained my eyes to see him, turned over and facing the wall as his labored breathing grew louder. I pulled the stake free from underneath and walked closer, having to use the lighter just to see what I was doing. From the angle he was sleeping, I couldn't pierce his heart, so I had to think on my feet. "Hey, Withers, laundry day," I whispered, nudging him.
I know why you're here, son. You got the letter, didn't you?
He didn't turn, but I could hear his teeth clenching. I held my nerve. "I did. You want to make this easy on me?" He chuckled, pulling the blanket over his head, still turned away.
Fuck off. I did what I did, and I have no regrets. You couldn't stop us then. You can't stop me now. Panopticon sees it all, but
Something stirred under the blankets, like he was shuddering.
if you want to test me, then you'd best strike first, lad. 'Cause I'm getting hungry, and I do not miss.
Left hand firmly clutching the stake, right hand reaching out for the blanket, I pulled it over my head and slammed down the stake as hard as I could, hitting nothing but the mattress. Something dripped on my shoulder, and a low growl filled the room. Slowly casting my eyes up, I came face to face with an ugly, emaciated creature. His skin pulled back, the nose turned up, and the eyes narrowed and yellowed with darkness where the whites of his eyes should be. His mouth was open, each tooth razor sharp and honed to kill, bright white with flecks of saliva and blood oozing down them. At that moment, I felt like a piece of meat being fed to a lion, an all-encompassing kind of terror that forces your fight or flight to kick in. He lunged, and I barely had time to step aside, his face greening with the concrete. I knew that I'd just cost myself time, and if I was unsuccessful, they'd be on me in 60 seconds. Waiting for him to circle around and lunge again, I gripped the stake with both hands, and as he leapt forward, ducked down and allowed his body to sink into mine, the stake plunging through his chest as a hiss left his mouth. Pushing him off, he lay on the ground, wheezing and choking.
You stupid fuck. This ain't enough. I'll just recoup and come after you twice as strong. It'll be just like with your little bitch, but more lively.
He coughed and spluttered as he tried to cackle, but the bravado left him as he saw the lighter and aerosol can held out in front of me. Well, you know what they say, Withers. Revenge is a dish best served cold. I took a long look at this pathetic creature, knowing what he'd done and how ironic he was in the same position she was. And in that moment, I felt nothing. But who the fuck cares what the experts say? I'll take piping hot revenge any day of the week. I pushed down on the can and watched the ball of flame erupt from the lighter and make contact with Withers' flesh, searing him and everything around him. I turned on my heel and walked to the door, knowing the fire would cover any of my tracks. I was right. Withers was a known smoker, and it was determined he'd simply fallen asleep with a lit cigarette in his cell, starting the fire. Didn't make a ton of sense to me, but I'm not going to question my good fortune. A month passes before the next note comes through. I'm almost too eager for the routine, for the chance to get my revenge and be free of this prison.
Mr. Alejandro, 2 men remain, one of which is going to attempt to kill you in the showers tomorrow evening. You may have realized that each of these men has also received a letter, but this is our way of ensuring a fair fight and forging you through fire. He will have an entourage with him, someone you will not need to kill. If you choose to, it will not be judged upon. In this place, it is your survival over theirs. The target is a drug lord. He has only been here for a few months, and while his sentence is predicted to be 25 years, his connections with our mutual acquaintance shall get him exonerated in 2. You will put a stop to that. It should be noted that he is the one who drugged her, Mr. Alejandro. What you do with that information is your choice. We do, however, have a request. Before ending his life, ask him this question. Why do we follow the lure? We feel this will help shed some light on who we are and our mission statement. Good luck.
At least this time, I knew he'd come for me. Saved me a whole lot of trouble. I kept my mind sharp and my elbows sharper as the allotted time came up. As I stepped into the showers, I heard the shuffling of heavy-duty boots as the guards took a lap and left me isolated as 2 men rounded the corner to greet me. If they were shocked that I was expecting them, they didn't show it. The man on the left was a towering mass of muscle and force, like a golem, vacant eyes and unwavering patience. The smaller man on the right had his black hair slicked back, tinted eyebrows perfectly trimmed to go with his bespoke beard as he grinned at me. This was my target, Don Marquez III.
So, this is the pretty boy who wanted to take me out, eh? You don't look like much, but looks can be deceiving. That's why I got my buddy Stax here. He's my problem solver.
He clicked his fingers, and Stack's face lit up. He walked toward me with arms outstretched and grabbed me by the shoulders before I knew it, his immense grip sending shockwaves of pain through my body as Marquez walked around me, still talking.
You see, I don't have a lot of time to waste on a little bean sprout like you. I've got big plans here, and even bigger plans outside. Can't let uppity little shits like you forget their place now, can I?
The closer he got, the more obvious it became. He wasn't a human either. The dead-eyed stare, the thinly trimmed facial hair masking the masses of fur. I started laughing, my ribs crunching underneath the pressure. Man, I didn't think the rumors were true, but you are a fucking dog, man. Maybe I should have offered you a bone instead of a fight. His eyes flared and Stack's grip tightened, a rib breaking. I decided if I was going to do something, I had to do it now. I pushed all my weight behind one kick to the kneecap of Stax, the sickening crunch telling me I hit my mark, and he crashed to the ground in a heap. Screaming, Marquez hunched over in the corner, his back arched and his posture growing wider and taller with every second.
You want to mock me because I'm small? Because I have protection in here? Oh, buddy boy, you really don't get it, do ya?
His voice grew distorted, animalistic, and rabid. My own confidence began to wane as he grew to a height of nearly 7 feet, towering over me with a fearsome presence.
He's for your protection, son, not mine.
He swiped at me, taking a chunk of my flesh with his claws as he seared my back. Pain riddled my body, but adrenaline is an amazing thing if you have enough of it in spades. I looked for an opening and threw an elbow at his jaw, knocking a tooth loose as he reeled from the damage. Overconfidence gripped me as I went in for a finishing shot, the fear running through me palpable as his jaws opened and clamped down hard on my bicep, lifting me up with ease until my feet were dangling off the floor and blood poured down my arm and onto the ground. I punched, kicked, and writhed as hard as I could, but the shock hit me within minutes and I began to hallucinate. The world growing fuzzy as he grinned through the bite, ducked his head down, and swung upwards with all his might, tearing free flesh and muscle as I went careening into the shower wall. My already damaged body collided with bricks and hot water, head spinning as he honed in on me.
You should have left me alone, kid. I thought I recognized you, but it took me an up-close inspection to really be sure. All this for a bitch? Really? Come on, man. What a fucking waste. Say hi to her for me, will ya?
He laughed and licked his lips, his nose covered in blood and viscera as he moved in for the kill. That last bit of mockery sent me into a rage that forewent the concern of my own well-being and knowledge that further exertion would have me bleed to death. What was the point if I couldn't even avenge her here? He lunged in, and it was all I could do to move to the right and let him hit the wall, mounting his back and putting him in prime position for my elbow to rain down on his skull. I felt his body twitch after the first two and fall limp after the next three. I landed one more for good measure before crawling off and propping myself against the opposite wall, watching him as he became a broken, pathetic man again, barely moving as he struggled to stay conscious. I remembered the request of the letter and decided now was as good a time as any. "Hey, Don Shithead, got a question for you. It's from my sponsor." His eyes were dulled, but he could still understand me, and his head slowly rose to meet mine. "Why do you follow the lure?" I asked, waiting for a response. His lip trembled and something flickered behind his eyes, but I couldn't say for sure if it was understanding, fear, or both. He took a moment and pointed a shaking finger at me before replying.
Because we know the struggle is pointless. Eventually, we'll all be devoured. Follow the lure.
I got up and surveyed him, the pathetic creature who helped commit that unspeakable act. I felt no pity for him as I raised my foot and slammed the boot full force into his skull, crushing it against the wall. His body fell limp, and he slumped to the ground next to a now inert Stax, masterless and without purpose. If they ruled this one an accident, I'd be amazed. I heard nothing on the subject for 4 more weeks, simply choosing to keep my head down and my mouth firmly shut. 2 weeks spent in the infirmary for damage and a further week on my own for safety before I could be let back into Gen Pop. The staff tried to coax me into admitting Don Marquez iced me, but I didn't snitch, and there was inexplicably no proof despite my DNA undoubtedly all over him. Another thing to thank my sponsor for, I suppose. When I got back, there was a final letter awaiting me, my belongings bagged up alongside an official letter from the governor.
Mr. Alejandro, it pleases us at AF Trust that you have been so passionate in your partnership with us. So much so that we are pleased to inform you that as of the end of the day, you will be processed and released. Someone will be waiting for you outside with your final assignment and future employment. Your funds have also been deposited into your account. Should you complete our job successfully, you will have a most comfortable life awaiting you. We look forward to working with you. Follow the lure.
I couldn't believe my eyes. They'd done it. The letter from the governor granted me early release based on good behavior and testimonials. That it was an unprecedented decision, but one made in good faith. There was his official title and signature at the bottom to boot. I was processed and stepped out into the world once more, the wind around me whipping up something fierce, a black storm raging overhead as it made its way further inland. So much for a sunny day reception, eh? Sure enough, someone was waiting for me by a large van, waiting to take me away, their features obscured by a dark trench coat, Denton hat, and bizarre mask.
Welcome back to the outside world, Mr. Alejandro. I trust your time inside wasn't terribly difficult.
The voice was kind, but sounded forced. It carried with it a deep sense of unease that seeped into my pores. It could have been better. I assume you have the info on the main man? I asked, throwing my things at them. They caught it without so much as flinching, putting it in the side door without breaking eye contact.
Oh, we do. It'll be explained on the way, but we ask that you do this job for us in the process. It will not only bring you the revenge you seek for what happened to your partner, but...
A brief flash of that night, finding those sick fuckers accosting her in an alleyway, taking her to their little den, pumping her full of drugs to bring out her latent abilities and fund their sick little online groups. They tortured her until she gave in, then they did worse. I found them through an anonymous tip and beat their leader until he was unrecognizable, but it wouldn't bring her back. Nothing would. But what? All I care about is taking his head. I want that evil motherfucker's body to be broken in front of me. I spat, hands shaking as I walked closer. A strong green glow rippled from the van and stopped me in my tracks, paralyzing me as a figure walked in front of me and stared down, something smiling behind the mask. Whoever this was, I knew they could end me in an instant without so much as a flick of their wrist. There was power within them.
Well, Mr. Alejandro, you're in luck. Because he will be participating in a unique fighting tournament known as the NFC, one that pits the strongest and most depraved warriors against one another. Our team is already in, but we are in need of your skills to fill the spot. You join us, you get your revenge. If we win, you get a wish.
A new kind of fright gripped me, one that told me to be wary around this guy.
I wonder what you'll wish for.
I swallowed, my throat dry and feeling like it was full of razor blades, my mind going straight to her, to my angel. I'd bring her back, in a heartbeat. I breathed. The figure nodded and leaned back, gesturing for me to get in the van.
Good. That's the kind of conviction you'll need for the NFC, Joseph. I'm sure Letty would be so proud of you. We'll bring her body back and lay it to rest. Don't you worry.
Catherine Letty Alejandro. She disappeared after 2 years of heavy drinking following the loss of her daughter. Wound up in a bar she should have never gone to and was given a fresh start thanks to the generosity of the bartender. I'm told he has a wonderful dog too. The problem is, giving someone a fresh start means they're vulnerable too. While the bartender, Sully, got her a ride home to sleep off the effects, well, he didn't check who was driving it. Bad people are attracted to unique energies, and they sniffed her out within minutes. That man and his group were looking for fresh thrills, attracted to young, vulnerable women who displayed unique talents. They live-streamed their exploits on private dark web forums after they got shut down on Facebook by the moderating team. They really thought he was unstoppable, I'm sure, but he sealed his fate the moment he laid hands on Letty. We sat in the back of the van for a while in silence as the driver made his way through Sturgeon's busy streets and into the entertainment district, past the Hotel Inertia, the Williams Estate, and the spot where the spaces in between once sat. Before long, we were descending through the underground tunnel and into the pit, the venue that would play host to the ensuing carnage that would determine how all of us lived. The last image I had of the outside world was seeing the final patch of sky engulfed by thick pillars of black smoke, threatening to blot out the very sun itself. As we pulled up, the masked figure spoke to me again.
Why do we follow the lure, Joseph?
I thought about my experiences, which lay ahead of me. Because it will lead us to our goal. It is the light that guides. He chuckled and shook his head, knocking twice on the van door as other members got out and walked toward the locker room.
No. It's because we are the unseen beast in the deep seas. We devour anything in our way. We're the apex predators.
He got out, and images of the monsters who butchered Letty's body flooded through my mind. How they drugged her, had their way with her, made an absolute mockery of her last moments. I thought that was sharks, I retorted, trying to hide my nerve as a mixture of anger and excitement to kill flooded my veins. Fear still very much present behind it all, as I knew I was walking into the jaws of a beast.
No. There's many things concealed in the depths, save for the soft light of a lure leading its victims close enough to strike. That is the anglerfish.
A name I've heard many times, an elusive killer who targeted specific people for his or her own purposes. No different to Letty's killer, really. But it's the devil's you know, isn't it? As we walked a little further in, various teams passed me by, as did staff. When we turned a corner, for the briefest of moments, I saw him, the monster who took my Letty. Mr. Payne, congregating with his group of freaks. I saw his hulking, vile frame as he laughed and took notes with them, devising strategies. When those eyes locked onto me, fear enshrouded my body like a cloak of ice. I felt everything Letty felt in those last few hours, the way she'd suffered and pleaded for her life as he and his entourage amped up the pain and the suffering. It was enough to almost bring me to my knees and beg for my life. What the hell was this man? But no sooner did the masked figure put his hand on me and bring my attention back, did rage burn away every piece of fear.
We're the beast nobody expects, Joseph. And soon, you will get to prove it to them.
I felt something when I looked at him, something odd. I had to satiate my curiosity and ask, "You're the anglerfish killer, right? The one everyone's been talking about." He cocked his head to the side and made an audible, as if surprised.
I suppose that much is obvious. Yes. This is my order. But that's not your only question, is it?
I knew I had to get this out there to ensure no lingering doubts or distrust remained if I was to do the job. What is your job title in Sturgeon? Because I think I know how I got out of that prison, how my sponsor's letter got through, and how nobody seemed to know I did those things or didn't care. Governor, he clapped his hands slowly.
Anything else you wish to know, you can ask before we start the opening ceremony. But I will say this. All of us need a lure, including you. Mine just so happens to be the most powerful authority in Sturgeon.
I knew this group had done wrong. I think every group there has. No saints without sinners. I didn't want to know every sordid detail of their past because I don't care. I'm here to do a job, to get my vengeance, to see that animal put down. I am Letty's anger manifested, and nobody is going to stop me. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed that one. This one is part of the Sturgeon mythos by TJ Lee, and it's connecting to the NFC Season 2, which will be coming out probably towards the end of the year. So there have been a few stories that I've done that are kind of building up to that with various different characters falling into place. With this one, I included some of the music that I made for the NFC as kind of like a motif for the theme songs during the fights and whatnot. You may recognize some of them from the NFC. But I hope you all liked it, and I hope you're excited for more stories from this universe. As some of you may have seen on my last video, when I was doing my office tour, the project file that I had open was Baraska. So I know it's been a long time coming, but that one's almost done after I've had to restart on it 3 times. This is essentially going to be the 3rd time that I've had to do the entire story. The first 2 times, the project files got corrupted. And after that happened twice in a row, I was just like, you know what? I'm going to put this on the back burner a little bit. I'll come back to this a little bit later. But I'm happy to finally have it done. I know a lot of you have been waiting for it. And yeah, I have a few other stories already recorded that are about an hour long that I'm going to be working on getting out for you. And I still plan on doing the production tutorial video for you all, where I kind of begin a video and show you how I make my my videos and this music and the sound design and all that stuff, similar to the office tour one. But yeah, thank you for coming by. If you'd like to, you can like and share the video. But otherwise, I hope you have a great weekend.